Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Miami by Night, a Vampire the Masquerade tabletop RPG game. If you have no idea what I just said, basically, we sit around and we pretend we're vampires, and I torture my players. But you'll get to see it in action here very quickly. This is our fourth session, and if you want to play catch up, the VODs can be found on my YouTube and most other podcast solutions. Now, the third episode isn't up because we are doing sort of a two-parter. But rest assured, pretty much by tomorrow, both tonight's and last week's episode will be uploaded. That way you can watch them back to back if need be. But before we get to our session proper, I just got to say a few things, sort of a disclaimer, if you will. Um, if you aren't aware, the Vampire the Masquerade game takes place in the world of darkness, which, if the name wasn't a big indicator, it means that, things can get, well, pretty dark. And what that means is we can be visiting on some mature themes and I would say some triggering subjects. And if you are sensitive to certain subjects, this is sort of your warning that, we might touch on them. But we're still going to stay Twitch safe, so you don't have to worry about, explicit sex or anything like that. Something else to keep in mind is that I'm comparatively new to Vampire and to the World of Darkness, and my great players here have been told many times that if I'm doing something wrong, they are free to correct me. As are you, chat. You guys can correct me if I'm doing something egregiously wrong. Just let me know I'm doing it in a civil manner. The other thing I have to note is that we are sort of mixing lore from old World of Darkness and New World of Darkness, which I know is a touchy subject for some, but we're here to have fun, and I think none of my players really mind. Other than that, I think all I have to say before I do the recap is that whatever support you can provide, whether it's a follow, sub, patron, donation, whatever, always appreciate it. Just make sure to take care of yourselves first. So, with that all out of the way, let me recap events up to this point. So, Miami has been a rather turbulent city for Kindred as of late. It all started a few weeks ago when the prince himself nearly got killed by a changeling while at Elysium. Really, the only reason he didn't meet the final death was the quick action of the coterie. Since then, the coterie has done their best to track down the would-be assassin and find out exactly how the protection of Elysium failed. Part of their search involved figuring out why the seneschal, the sheriff, and the Venture Primogen were all absent during the failed assassination. It was actually by a stroke of luck that the coterie learned the location of both the seneschal and the sheriff. They decided to rush to Sheriff Donovan first, where they found him staked in torpor in what was likely his haven. Unfortunately, by the time they got to the seneschal, he had met the final death. Now, the coterie is gathering at a hospital on the University of Miami's campus. They've brought the sheriff in torpor there in secret and are currently preparing for the imminent arrival of the prince himself. So our very first scene is going to be in the room in which the sheriff's body has been brought. Now, the room is pretty much like any other hospital room, maybe even a surgery operating theater. It's got sort of that table with the overhead light, and it's got sort of double doors and various medical instrumentation around. Now, the sheriff himself is currently in a body bag, a opaque body bag, but the only other person in the room right now is Rolnick. And I'm going to give Rolnick a few moments here, and then Tiger, your character is going to walk in. So, Rolnick, I wanted to give you an opportunity. In the process of moving the sheriff here, did you want to set any specific guidelines, security arrangements, things of that nature?
Yes, I would have spoken to Miss Farrow, um, though it's a body cleanup issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that has been practiced. So I would have simply asked, just keeping a perimeter. Um, I'll go in first. I'll sort of clear the way, and then I'll give her a call or just come back and tell her like it's okay to bring a body in. But I trust her and her company to guard the body while I sort of go in, open some doors, and then that kind of issue.
Okay. And it's very easy. Like, it's the time of night where hardly anybody is at the hospital. And since you're going to the morgue, or at least one of the basement operating theaters, it's very easy to get the body in and out. My
Okay.
question would be, as a follow up, would you keep the security around or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And that's
And
partly why I would go ahead to make it seem like this is normal.
okay. How many would you say you have?
I'd say I got four other guys.
Four other
She
guys.
came with like in an SUV, maybe four guys in the back of the SUV. Yeah, she drove or something.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Four shall be the number. All right. Well, Rolnick, you're sort of staring at the body bag on the table when there is a tap at the door, and I'm gonna let Mr. Locke enter the scene as he so wishes.
Cameron opens the door. He looks around. He sees Phil, uh, nods at him, and says, "Heard you track down the sheriff. Well done."
It wasn't just I, but
Well, you're the one I see right now.
yes, for now, it would seem that the sheriff is safe. And where have you been?
Uh, well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I've been around, following up some leads that or that Primogen Bell uh, tipped me on about.
Mm,
Unfortunately, the leads were dead ends, and the, the quarry escaped.
oh well, I, I trust that you have a handle on your affairs. I do not wish to pry your personal life, personal matters, but I would like it if you can focus in on this situation. Now, the other our fellows are off. I believe they were getting a disguise, I think. To be honest, I'm not quite sure. They seem to be in a bit of a hurry, though. You know how Joseph can be at times. Once he sets his mind on something, he follows it to the end.
Disguises for what?
Well, I suppose it must.
That makes sense. I understand.
You'll find that there are minor security detail that I have. Um, you may have passed by them. They do not know of us. And if there is a breach of etiquette, just let me know and I'll ensure that that breach is sealed.
Of
All right?
course. Of course.
Thank you.
Did you have any trouble tracking the sheriff down?
A little trouble, yes. Um, not like yourself or Joseph, no tracker of men. But we did find him, and it was in this state. I had thought it was a trap at first, and it still may be. Oh, and another thing. If you receive a call from our foreign friend, uh, I would suggest you cut off all communications, digital communications with them as soon as you can. They are not wise with how things are ran.
Okay. I will take that under advisement. Thanks for the heads up.
Yes. I'm always looking after you. And
Apparently so.
others of the coterie, of course. Where would we be without each other?
Oh, look at you.
All
We're
right.
going to start singing Kumbaya.
I just smile at that.
I mean, if you really want to. So I think real quick, the only thing we have to handle is I need Locke's rouse check for the evening. You succeed. You are fine. All right. So, probably about that smile, the mention about singing Kumbaya, that's probably about when Mr. Malchus and Euless both enter in as well. Now, Joseph, the good news is that you really didn't need to go to too much trouble to get yourself inside. Again, sort of the campus it's 2 or 3 a.m. The campus isn't really populated right now, and neither is the hospital. So it was just a matter of sending Euless ahead to, maybe distract maybe one or two people. But other than that, you make it down here just fine.
All right, all right, all right, Ulyss. You must understand. If the prince asked anything, we didn't do it.
I thought
Understand?
I thought that went without saying. Of course.
Okay, good. Good. You're not as dumb as when I taught you back when you were in college.
Listen, I was under a lot of stress. You don't need to bring that up.
Who writes down? No, I'm not even going to mention that one. But hey, Rollneck, Luck. I unfortunately got a bad present for us today.
What happened?
Ta-da! I hold out the urn.
Okay. So
What
you see
is
this
that?
urn right here?
This has a seneschal in it.
Yeah, well, behold, our current seneschal, our past seneschal.
How did Euless kill the Seneschal?
Euless didn't kill the seneschal.
Are you
no,
sure?
No.
I didn't do anything.
No. Okay, I'm gonna set the seneschal's ashes on a table real securely. All right, so this is what happened. I got a call from our friend, you know which one, the pointy ears one. Don't want to say what they are just in case, but she found him with pulls out the stake with this in his chest. Tunk. And well, while she was watching him, he ashed.
Did you diablerize him through your voodoo magic?
I feel
I'm
like
gonna
you have
walk
a
up
very
to him.
poor
I'm gonna point my
understanding.
finger straight at between his eyes and say, "You ever say that again, I will hurt you. You do not joke about that stuff."
Fine.
So you mean to tell me that a mutual friend found them like this?
It's odd, Rollneck, because she said she called you, too.
Oh yes, of course you did.
So why didn't you tell me or Ulyss last night so we could have split up and made sure this didn't happen?
Oh well, it's a breach of etiquette. Simply
Breach
put.
of etiquette to go and save the seneschal and...
Oh, I had no idea that this was the case. I simply heard how she spoke and what she spoke of, and I did not want to hear any more of it. But we are in this situation now, and it would seem we are in a predicament.
To be fair,
Well-
there's no way that Phil would have known that the seneschal was gonna ash in the hour or so that it took us to go visit the
Yeah.
sheriff.
But I would have at least sent one of us to make sure he was fine. Maybe we could have seen what ashed him, because I don't think having a stake in your heart ashes you.
I think,
I
I'm not
wouldn't
sure.
know. I don't make that a habit of happening to me. Well, we have this place secure for now, and I assume
and the prince is on his way.
who he is.
Yes.
Should we hightail it out of here?
No.
You sure?
He knows that I'm going to be here, so if you guys want to hide in another room while he rips me a new one, go ahead.
Well, no. Nothing will come. No harm will come to you. We'll face this as a coterie.
We saved him before, so he has to cut us some slack.
Yes,
Have
I
you-
think we are.
Have you cashed in that life debt yet?
No.
No. You see that window over there? You could probably fit all of you through it before he's done killing me.
Well, I just shrug. Try not to look so negatively in things.
Technically, weren't we just supposed to find them, and they were under suspicion of being disloyal? So, I mean, it's not our fault this guy got ashed.
Well, I don't know them tremendously. I'm sure they were quite did their job very well. Rest assured, the prince will. Sure, he will thank us for what service we've offered. At the very least, we have the sheriff secure here.
I pick up the the other stake and look at it a little closely. So we're sure that you know who sold this thing to you know who.
Yes, that is a problem.
Because
I would suggest bring that up to the prince.
don't suggest or suggest.
I do suggest, strongly in fact.
I do want to ask though, are we sure that she was in on the fact that they be taking out these two, or was she just the arms dealer?
Matters not, she needs to go. There needs to be a blood hunt put on her immediately. She knows our domain.
She's a werewolf. Of course she knows.
She could smell it.
But still, that is where you stay. Does that not threaten you?
No, she seemed nice. I mean, like, we're the ones that were pumping her for information.
I do want to mention, do you feel threatened by the sun that rises every day?
Of course not. Then again, I don't reside in the domain afforded to us. I have my own accommodations. I'm looking out for you. Both of you, of course. I don't want this other person to show up. Oh, she doesn't even have to show up. She could send people and burn down the domain. Fat Mona Lisa and all.
Fat Mona Lisa would never let that happen.
The Fat Elisa would probably come out of its frame and curse them or something.
I suppose so.
If that
Plus,
thing moved by the
I've
time I
got
get
wards
home.
all over the domain.
Words
Our
that
domain
stop a person?
Well, when you go into specifics,
Well,
It stops
That's a pretty big
vampires.
specific.
how about a dominated child with a canister of gasoline? Can that stop them?
go into specifics.
Should we get guard dogs? I think we should get guard dogs.
I don't like dogs.
Should we ask her if she wants to be our guard dog?
No! What?
You know, we probably should have ended her, to put it
No.
nicely.
I agree.
Or possibly put something on her that we could threaten her later with.
Like an explosive collar.
That's what I was thinking.
She just makes weapons. She's not.
She did send us that pistol with a silver bullet, though.
Yeah, because she wants.
She just sells weapons.
Yeah,
Weapons
yeah.
that have been used to harm the prince. Correct?
Yes, Elos, I'm afraid I cannot agree with your stance on this matter.
If I shoot you with a gun, are you gonna go harass the Walmart employee that sold it to me?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I don't think that is a good
Yeah.
analogy.
Gillis, you're forgetting how petty these two can be.
Well, you see, what if it was
And I do
another-
somewhat agree with them. The werewolf unaccounted for in a city is not something we should just let run around.
This is our city, after all.
I mean, if anything, it's the Changeling city.
It's our city.
Easy
It's-
there.
It's their city for now.
Presently.
I don't know. I don't know if y'all were here when after they flushed out all the kindred. It was pretty tight living for a while.
Must have been dreadful. I was not there during that time. I would never let that happen.
And on that note,
It was
not to interrupt, but on that note, let's have Mr. Locke. I would like you to roll me a wits and awareness, please. And the reason it's you rolling this will become apparent based on what I tell you next, but I need to see a roll first. All right, you get 1 success. So you don't really notice this until it's too late to do anything about it, but you specifically notice that the shadows in the room are growing unnaturally, as if they're extending outwards, coalescing and becoming darker. Basically, you would recognize this as Oblivion instantly. Somebody nearby, or perhaps the thing in the body bag, is using a power that is related to Oblivion.
Hey, guys. I hate to interrupt our little discussion, but we have company. It's the shadows are. It's getting kind of dark in here. If you get my
Jesus
drift.
Christ!
And in
I
fact,
grab the urn.
now that he points it out, you all are noticing this as well.
I'm grabbing the urn and I'm grabbing the ashes. Are you sure it's not the sheriff telling us to rip the damn thing out of him?
I'm pretty sure it's not the sheriff, but I don't know. Maybe we should rip the damn thing out of him.
Hey, Rolnick.
He's gonna go into a blood frenzy.
Rolnick, can you use those like eye things you got? Like something your species got? I don't know what you call it.
I don't think I follow.
You can see things differently than us. Can you see anything we can't see?
I can see just like the rest of you.
You know, we're in a hospital. Hospitals have blood bags, and mortals.
How powerful is this boy? Because if he's too powerful, blood bags ain't gonna cut it.
I tasted his blood before. He's too powerful to derive anything from stored blood.
Do we have any dying patients?
We'll keep them as is. Do you know how close they are, Cameron? Are they friendly or?
That I have no idea. Is there any way I can find out?
There is indeed. Let's see. What would we have you roll here? What does your... In fact, let me pull up your sheet so that I can take a look at your primary stats here. Let's take a look.
I'm not very smart.
You do have good wits, though. I will allow you to do a wits and insight here. Though I think insight is technically social, but I'll allow it anyway, because it's 3 dots. I'll let it happen. All right, 2 successes. You would know that based on your own experiences with such quote-unquote shadowy powers, that in order for them to manipulate the shadows in this way, they have to be fairly close, like either above you a floor, below you a floor, or in the same floor as you and coming closer.
They are within the vicinity, at the very least. The exact location, I don't know.
This is nothing against you, but as far as I understand, there was a...
May I attempt something?
What would you like to attempt?
Can I try using Sense the Beast in a wide range?
Let us consult Sense the Beast. Let's see. It's in one of these PDFs. Just give me a second to find it again. Let's see. Because I know it's limited in range. And of course, if you find it before I do... There it is. All right. Oh, I guess it doesn't really say that there's a range on it. It just says immediate vicinity. Huh. Why don't you roll a resolve and animalism, and I'll
Yep.
roll a secret opposed. All right, 4 successes, and I'm going to roll this on the GM layer. 1, 2. Okay. So you do succeed. There is actually 2 rather powerful kindred heading in your direction. They are coming from the direction of the elevator.
I have a question. Have I sensed their beasts before?
I don't think I can give you that answer.
Unless I critted, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can give you that answer. So the answer to that is you don't know.
All right, they're coming from the elevator.
Are they powerful, I guess? Are they strong?
Yes.
The I guess strongest member of my clan is the Primogen, so maybe it's him.
Okay, so I'll stand outside the door, invisible. Maybe they just won't notice me, and I'll tap behind the door. I'll tap the door behind me if they're friendly or not. All right.
Sounds good. Should we straighten this place up, clean ourselves off a little bit before we
A
receive
little bit,
company?
yeah. Just I take the urn, twist it a little bit to try and make it look nicer. Step outside the door and immediately cast the good old reliable obfuscate ability, Cloak of Shadows.
All right. I don't think that takes a rouse check, does it? Because it's the moving one
Nope,
that
does
takes the
not.
rouse check. So yeah, you go invisible. What are the rest of you doing while he's standing out being a ward?
There was a funny thing when they said 2 of them coming from the elevator. They're old. They didn't seem to notice. Maybe that's part of the trick. Rolnick's gone.
Ooh. Okay.
You just see and you turn. Where'd Rolnick go? Yeah, he's gone. Guess what?
He used the window.
Also using Cloak of Shadows. Just in the corner of the room where the sheriff is.
Okay.
I just kind of step back while they're talking with each other and just.
I need to learn how to turn invisible.
So I'm gonna put Rolnick over here. We'll put
As
Malchus
I
here.
We're 2 spooky boys.
Can I blood surge while using Cloak of Shadows?
That's a good
It's
question.
not like burn or anything like that, but I do want to blood surge my senses.
Player can add a
Hyperize
number of
mode.
dice. Yeah, the only thing I'm saying is that it does require a rouse check, and it only applies to a single roll of the die.
Yeah.
But it would allow you to add a number of dice
Just
to your
one.
dice pool, incorporating an attribute. So
Yeah, so I'll Cloak of Shadows and I'll blood surge for wits.
okay,
So my rouse.
good on the rouse.
Opening the senses. When I just fall back, my eyes glow slightly as I just kind of fade into. Just don't notice me.
So yeah, let's have you do a wits and awareness, see what you see or sense. Is that including your blood potency
Yes.
stuff in there?
Yes.
Okay. So with 2 successes, I would say
Actually, real
base.
quick,
Yes.
I want to spend willpower.
Okay.
Reroll, boom. Let's see, reroll. 2 of those dice, I'll be. Oh no, 3 of those dice. Okay.
So
more
another 2
successes.
successes for a total of 4. I would say with 4 successes, Rolnick, you are able, probably about the same time as Malchus is outside of the room, you're able to get a sense for who is coming. And the way I'm flavoring this is your supernatural hearing. You pick up the conversation through the door. Now, Malchus, it's right about now that you look down the corridor of the hospital and you see before you hear 2 individuals coming down the hallway. And one of them you recognize immediately. It is the Lasamba Primogen, Mr. Bell. With him is a hooded figure. And it takes a moment for them to get closer and for the hooded figure to speak. But you do recognize a raspy Prince Campbell's voice coming from the hooded figure. Now, when I say hooded figure, I'm not like, actual hoodie. I'm talking like full-on Sith Lord hoodie. But both of these people are coming towards you, Malchus. They don't seem to have noticed you, or if they do, they don't care.
I open the door so that they can walk through. Do like a please come in motion.
Okay.
Basically destroying my invisibility, but...
So, you open the door. Their conversation comes to an abrupt end as the La Sombra Primogen, Mr. Bell, he sort of looks at you, looks you up and down, nods, and then he pokes his head into the room, takes a look around, and then he looks specifically at you, Locke, and says, "Is the room clear?"
I nod and I point to Sophie, and then I'm say my other associate is somewhere in the room as well, making sure that there's no surprises.
Kind of looks around, looks at the room, nods, and turns back and says, "You're clear, Mr. Campbell." And Campbell steps forward, and in princely fashion, he just walks into the room with all the arrogance and confidence you would expect from a prince. And, Mr. Bell follows in his wake. And it's right about then, as he sort of looks at the body bag and then back at Bell and probably Malchus as the door closed behind you, that the prince reaches up, kind of undoes his hood, and it's a grisly sight. I mean, he was pretty charred when you last saw him, but let's just say even with supernatural healing, the prince isn't looking great. He probably could pass for a Nosferatu in his current state. But what you are sensing, even without a roll, is that he is somewhere between furious and, I say aggravated, not meaning sort of angry aggravated, but something is definitely on his mind. And he sort of points at the body bag and says, "All right, let's see him." And he just waits for someone to,
I walk over and flip the body bag open.
Okay.
To reveal him.
So you reveal the currently in torpor sheriff. And as usual, the sheriff is... Well, let me ask this. Did you leave his eyes open or closed?
I I did the close the eye thing because staring hopelessly at a ceiling for several hours at a time is going to be painful.
Fair enough.
Annoying.
So his eyes are currently closed. He is rigid. He is not moving even an inch. He is quite literally stuck in the position he's in. As a reminder, I will say that unless I'm misreading this entirely, the sheriff is supposedly aware of everything that goes around him. So just keep that in mind. But how far do you undo the body bag? Do you do the full thing, just his face?
Yank.
All right.
All of it.
All of it. So immediately all of you can see in the room that the sheriff is, again, he is staked. He's got a wooden stake right in his chest. And both the prince and Mr. Bell sort of look at it. And Locke, you immediately pick up that Bell is a little distressed because he actually gasps. This is not something that Mr. Bell does often. As for the prince, kind of hard to read past the, supernatural fury that he's containing. And the prince just kind of walks up to the sheriff and then gives him a very, very abrupt and very unexpected, slap across the face, as if to express himself. And the prince says, "Wake him up. I don't care how you do it. Wake him up. I have questions."
I yank the stake out of his chest and state, "Get us a dying man. He's going to be hungry."
So just to be clear, everyone else is okay with him just pulling it out.
The prince said,
I'm going to kind of stand in between the sheriff and the prince.
Okay.
And kind of Bell, if I can.
I am kind of between them as well.
Midway, once I saw the prince, Like, let's not Primogen. I don't like him. I don't trust him. But 'cause he's just about once it's about always. But so the prince. That's when I kind of and Cameron may know. I would have uncloaked myself. I'm just there in the corner, just like I was there all along. Must not seen me. But once I see him, Joseph, go to stake him, I do try to like politely at first, but then I just try to grab like try to stop Joseph from doing that,
Okay.
and say he's been in this state for long, my prince. Are you sure it's wise?
Why don't we do a roll here? Because I think there's the prince could react in many ways to this. Let's
Can
have.
I do an etiquette roll?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's a daring way to phrase that.
Let's have you do a
Manipulation
charisma
etiquette?
and an etiquette.
Oh, charisma and etiquette. Okay, gotcha.
I was thinking maybe manipulation, but I think charisma fits better.
Yeah,
here.
charisma is a little better. Boom, boom.
A total
Spend
of one
willpower?
success. Willpower?
Yep.
Total of
Two more.
3 successes.
Oh, yeah, 3, yeah.
So, I'm now going to roll the prince's rather large dice pool to see how he responds to this. So the prince, there's a moment, Rolnick, where he looks at you with a gaze that, if looks could kill, you would be burning on fire, nailed to a cross. But then it lessens, and he, still in a very gruff tone, he says, "All right, very well. You obviously know more about his condition than I do. How long has he been like this?"
A month, sir.
A month, you say, as in he's been staked since the incident.
It would
Maybe
seem
even
so.
a little before.
He looks at Belle, and Belle sort of just shrugs as if to say, "I don't know." And the prince turns to you, Euless, and says,
Oh, fuck.
"You, girl, whose name I don't care to remember at the current moment, fetch us a blood bag. And by blood bag, I mean someone we can kill."
I quickly walk
I
over
give
to
her a
her.
pained look. I just look at her like, oh, you gotta do it.
I pat her back and say, okay, if you look in the medical records, number 5286, I saw it on the way in. He has cancer. He only has like 2 days left. If he would suddenly just die from sudden internal hemorrhaging, no one would look twice.
Okay. I'll mosey on out of here.
Okay.
And over to wherever they keep their medical records. Gonna try to find someone who's about to die.
All right.
Seeing
Euless.
that she is
go ahead.
obviously sort of distressed about that moment, like I pause, I look at her, and I see her turn like, okay, she's kind of dragging her feet like, yeah, okay, I'll do this, Then I'll step up again, and I'll go to you, Euless, and I kind of put a hand on your shoulder, and I look to the prince, and I just ask him if he'll just give us a night. I'm sure we'll be able to find a proper arrangement for the sheriff to be seated. You will have him for whatever you need. This is rushed. I think if we go about this in an orderly manner, it'll be good.
I think now manipulation comes
Yeah,
into
I'm trying to
play.
convince him, like,
Yeah, let's do a manipulation and a persuasion.
Okay.
Can I help him?
How would you be helping him?
I'm going to say, my prince, this hospital room really isn't the most secure place to be having this conversation, especially if the sheriff goes into a hunger frenzy, perhaps moving the sheriff into a more secure location will help mitigate any masquerade violations, breaches, and prying ears.
Okay. I will allow you to assist him with that.
I think I just get a 1.
Yeah, I
Come
think
on.
it's
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's the
1 per
one.
person. That helps.
Yeah.
All right, that's with the mod.
Okay, so 3 successes there.
Guess what I'm doing again? Spend willpower.
Very important role to willpower here.
That, let's see how many. That's the 4, 1, 5. Yeah, I'll just reroll 3.
All right, total of 4 successes.
So I did crit. I got 2
Oh,
normal
you
dice
did. So
10s.
that's 5.
So the 2, yeah, they double. So that'll be the 2 10s are worth 4 successes,
Okay,
and then I got an 8, 9. Yeah, so it's 6.
6. Okay.
Looks like, yeah.
All right, so 6 successes. Prince has substantially less dice for this. He's not very good with the composure. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, I don't know if that's showing up for the stream or not, but, oh, it is. So, the Prince has rolled 4 10s. And one other success, which I think that's what, 7, 8? Yeah.
Hi,
So,
Prince, can I offer you a cat?
So how many successes? Because it's the difference, and I think we'll take like willpower damage mechanic.
Right, yeah, you're
Usually
definitely going to
increase.
take willpower damage here. I'm just checking that real quick. I think you just take the 1. Yeah, you just take the 1. Yeah, because it's social damage, extra willpower damage. Oh, but he is the prince, so he does have a +4 bonus because he is the prince.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is important because all of you are going to take some willpower damage on this one because the prince is not thrilled. I mean, he's hearing your words, and you think on some level he is understanding what you mean, but again, that sort of primal fury, as almost as if he's barely repressing a fury frenzy. That's how worked up he is. And he says, damn it, this is your domain. I gave it to you. This is supposed to be locked down. And if it's not locked down, if we can't have this conversation here, then where the fuck else are we going to have it? So I don't give a shit what you have to do, but we need to wake up the sheriff now and have this damn conversation. Am I clear?
Crystal, my prince.
Then get it done.
Bow.
I'm actually going to, without saying a word, just immediately exit the room and start looking for a file for someone I can use because Rolnick's attempt to buy us time has backfired.
I do look at Euless, and I gave her like a pained look, like that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. And then like silently, kind of like.
All right, so we're going to handle this a little bit in a narrative sense because I don't want to be doing dice rolls for forever. So Euless, what I would say is I need to know how it is you're looking for someone. Are you literally medical records? Are you going to go off of Malchus's suggestion of a cancer patient? What is your play here in terms of finding someone that will probably no longer be living very shortly?
Yeah, I'm going to go to whatever record room they have here, and poke through their records, whether it be physical or digital, and see if I can't find someone who doesn't have long to live.
Okay. Question on the field. Would you feel this is more intelligence or more wits, people?
Yeah, I feel intelligence.
Intelligence investigation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just curious if wits would be better because she's maybe is doing it in a rapid fashion, but...
Can I make a suggestion to Euless?
Go for it.
Perhaps find someone who is on some sort of sedative or something to calm them down, and so that the sheriff is more, I guess, pliant when he wakes up.
Hell yeah. I'll take that into account.
Okay. All right, let's see that roll then. Intelligence and investigation.
May I be assisting her with this because I did mention I was leaving the room too.
I will say if you are in the same room as her looking at probably either the same or different records, you can indeed assist her. So that would be an additional 1 die.
Nice.
Very nice. 3 successes. You come up with 3 potentials. The first is the cancer patient that Malchus mentioned. Probably only has a couple days to live, is probably on a high morphine drip for the pain, is an option. Number 2 is a rare patient with leukemia. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I might get this wrong, for which I apologize, but it's one of those situations where the leukemia has advanced to a stage where there's not much that current medical science can do. So they also don't have long to live, but they have a significant longer period than the 2-day patient. This particular leukemia patient will maybe live another couple weeks, maybe a month at best, but they're definitely stuck in the hospital for that time. So no chance, like there's so little of a chance of them recovering, but you would be depriving someone of about a month, maybe. The third one only really comes up because you're in a hurry, but there is a recent, as of like a few hours ago, crash patient. He was a motorcyclist, wasn't wearing his helmet, and he is pretty much in a coma right now. There is no sort of guess as to when or if he might come out of the coma. But the big difference with him is that he is not on painkillers. So if you are specifically looking for painkillers, you got to go to the first or the second.
Okay. I feel like leukemia is like blood cancer, right?
I believe so, yes.
So I'm worried about feeding that to the sheriff. So I'll elect for the patient that that Joseph recommended.
Okay. So, my question is Mr. Malchus going to accompany Euless up to the room to escort the patient out?
I think that would be best because I have Ghost in the Machine,
Mm-hmm.
which would mean any recording devices show whoever was moving the man to be either not there or just a completely indistinct mass.
Ooh. Does that require a rouse?
Nope. It's just an effect.
Does it say what range it has?
No. It just adds a +3 difficulty for anyone to try and identify me after using electronic surveillance. And
Here it is. Okay. Okay, so no cost.
I do have to have an active obfuscation, but I'll be using Unseen Passage while carrying the guy on my shoulders.
Okay, now that definitely is a rouse check.
That is a rouse check, but that is the only thing we will have.
Unless I'm reading the power incorrectly, the only thing this is going to affect is you. So if Euless goes with you, she will still show up completely okay on the surveillance.
Yes. I'm the only one affected, so that's why I kind of tell Euless to just basically watch ahead and make sure that I don't run into any of the night staff.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Okay.
I'll just man, I do not look like I belong here.
Don't worry, I can find you some scrubs.
Yeah, I'll mosey on ahead of Joseph.
Okay. So while those two are grabbing,
and I'll fire my rouse check right now.
Let's do your rouse check real quick. You pass it fine. All right, so while Euless and Joseph are away, we're going to sort of focus in on those of you that have remained behind in the room with the prince and his fury. And my question is are any of you attempting to placate, distract, or otherwise deal with the fact that you have a ticking time bomb of a prince here?
Me, I would assume I'm probably I'm like cowed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just mechanically, my
Mhm.
willpower's gone. So I just like, all right, I know my play. I can't say anything. I can't speak out anymore. So I just kind of, I hold back. But I look nervously to you, Cameron, but I stay in the room, trusting that the coterie will stay strong. They'll find someone appropriate.
I'm gonna I guess update the prince on the events that Phil has filled me in on,
Okay.
saying they found the prince or the sheriff staked. We found the werewolf responsible. No, did you not tell me that?
Yeah. Yeah.
My one question: do you mention the seneschal?
Do I know? Oh, I guess I do know.
The urn is literally just over there on a table.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna say I was following a lead that Primogen Bell uh, gave me regarding the Changeling assassins. Unfortunately, they escaped, so I was not able to really gain any information. But I'm gonna look at Phil. They they located both the sheriff and this seneschal.
And the prince cuts you off and says, "Okay, where's the seneschal then? I see one body in this morgue."
I'm gonna point to the urn.
He looks to the urn. And I'm going to make sure I'm doing this correctly. So for a Fury Frenzy, I believe I'm
It's a
rolling
willpower
the
roll.
prince's willpower.
Yeah, so however many normal willpower he has.
Willpower
am-
plus 1/3 of their humanity.
Okay.
I am
Oh, yeah.
glad I am not in the room.
So the good news is that if I read this correctly, this is only a difficulty of 2. So that's good. His humanity, I have it down as a 5. That sound about right? Or would you think a prince would be lower?
Oh, 5's good. It's fine.
All
I
right.
don't know.
All right, so let's see. So if I read this right, he's rolling 6 dice. I think that's right. Let's see what he gets. And I'll roll it in public so we can all see. Well, he's got a 9, and he's got 2 6s, which I think is all you need. That's 3 successes. So the prince, again, you can almost feel the anger coming off of him, and he's like clenching and unclenching his fists, and he's just eyeing the urn. He's like, he deserved better than an urn.
It's a very nice urn, my prince, and that's all we had available.
Motherfucker. Oh, sorry.
I will make sure that that we will find something nicer.
Damn right you will.
Do you have any instructions on where we should, how should we handle the ashes? Would you like him
I will take
displayed
him
prominently?
personally.
Okay. Of course.
But not now. We need to deal with this thing first. And he, once again, just turns and like glares down at the rigid form of the sheriff. So while that's all going on, we cut sort of to a interior hospital passage up on the 3rd floor. Now, in this time, Euless, Joseph has found you some set of scrubs. Maybe you look like a nurse. Maybe it's an actual doctor's coat. I'm going to let you decide that. But again, it's 3 a.m. Really, you are in the ward. So there is a nurse doing rounds, checking in on patients. But it's not like a first floor emergency room type scenario where there's an active staff that's, running around all the time. And you eventually find your patient. His name is, ironically, his name is Joseph Smith. And the patient, when you walk in, he's a very elderly gentleman. Maybe even has some balding going on, liver spots. He's somewhere in his 70s to 80s. And he's not currently conscious. You're not sure if he's asleep or if he's actually out of it. But there is the steady sort of beeping of his heart monitor, his pulse monitor, and also a steady drip from the IV. And you can read on the bag very clearly that it is a morphine mix. And right now, you sort of do that check in the hallway. I'd like you, Euless, to roll me a wits and awareness.
Oh boy.
Four successes. So the good news is with four successes, you maybe start to wave Joseph in and, start to maybe mess with the body. But right as Joseph goes in, or at least based on what you're hearing, you see that the nurse doing rounds has rounded the corner and is starting to do this section of rooms. So you've maybe got about 2 to 3 rooms before she reaches the one you are currently in.
Does she give me a signal about that happening?
I how big are the rooms?
The rooms are actually fairly small. I would say maybe enough to fit a king size bed in. There's a window that faces the outside. Curtains are drawn.
Okay, I didn't know if they're like community rooms.
Oh, no. These are very much singular rooms.
Okay, so that's only a couple folks. Okay, you get going.
I whisper to her. Okay, so how long do we have?
Have I noticed how long these
with 4 successes, I would say that they're taking maybe about a minute, 2 minutes with each patient before moving on.
Okay.
Okay. So we got to make it look like this guy died, so we can move him to the morgue without anyone questioning.
I was gonna though just wait for her to be in a room and make a run for it. That works too.
But then there's questions about where this guy went.
Well, yeah, but they're gonna have to.
Why did he suddenly show up in the morgue?
Oh, yeah. That's if we say that he's dead, they're gonna have to come and try to resuscitate him, and then there's way more. There's a whole bunch of processes that
Do you have any way to manipulate the nurse?
I can make her forget.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mate, simply a little plan here. I'm going to try and forge the writing on the thing, state that he died, and do you have any way to make her make the call to the records that unfortunately the patient has passed away?
No, I don't focus on my domination powers. I can just make her forget. Okay, you pick him up, take him out. We'll worry about the fallout later. I will distract her if need be.
She is 1 room closer.
Okay.
Let's go.
Go. I hoist the guy onto my shoulder and start taking him with me.
Now, to be clear here, unless I misunderstand your power, you actually interacting with him will turn off your invisibility.
Let me reread that.
Are you allowed to carry things?
With this power, Vampire can now move around, staying hidden. The user is functionally invisible as per obfuscate limitations.
Anytime you move, you change the environment around you, you reveal yourself. You can't just open a door invisible to someone. You got to slip in as it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I actually have a thought. Can I pick him up and immediately fire it again?
Yes, but I don't think it would work on him. I think I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to invisible him with you.
No. I just want myself invisible. I know he's not going to be invisible. I'm betting on Euless distracting her, but I don't want cameras to see me. I want to make it look like he's walking down the hall.
That's Weekend at Bernie shit.
Yeah.
You're pulling a Weekend at Bernie.
I'm going to defer to Lou and Tiger on this one. Would you guys think that's fair for Unseen Passage to do such a thing, or no?
No.
Okay, so
you just got to deal.
Actually,
you're carrying a body. You just got.
If you can find straps and you can wear him like Bernie, I'd say allowed for dramatic purposes. But that's just
actually, I just thought of something. I have tech.
You do?
I'm gonna mess with his. I'm gonna first things first. Euless, could you dis Euless, could you distract the nurse for a few minutes?
Okay.
The nurse is the next room over.
And when she goes off to do that, I'm going to first go over to the resuscitation, the shockers that they have to try and get people out of a heart to like resuscitate someone. And I'm gonna try sabotaging those so that the shock will not happen, but the machine will say it does.
Interesting. Let's have you roll I'm thinking intelligence or wits here.
Intelligence.
Yeah, let's do intelligence and tech. For a total of 2 successes. I'm going to say, unfortunately, 2 successes is not enough to do what you are telling me you want to do with it. Which means that, unless I'm misremembering, because you have rolled a 1 on your hunger die, that does mean the beast comes out a little bit. So how would you like to deal with that failure? Would you like me to flavor it, or would you like to flavor it?
I would run the failure that I do kind of get open, but I realize that they've built these, and I actually know this a little bit. They built these things to be redundancy as hell. Like, these things are very, very hard to fail.
Mm-hmm.
These things are very, very hard to get to fail. The best, I could not do it the way I want to. The only way I could actually get this thing to fail would to be obviously rip out the battery, which would be fairly obvious if the person picks up and tries to turn it on, it doesn't turn on. But after that, suddenly, of course, I start hearing, start drinking on them. Start drinking them. You're hungry, aren't you? And that's going to be a real problem.
Because that means your hunger is now 3.
Yes. Thankfully, I am one of those I'm the sleeper eater, so right now this is actually one of those beautiful moments. But because I failed that, I'm actually going to close the thing up and actually just take the battery out.
Okay.
So that they see the failure, and I know that the heart, those things, in order to save someone from dying from the heart attack problem, you have literal seconds to do that. So with that time there, now I'm going to move on to step 2. I'm going to go up to the heart monitor, which is far easier to mess with. Those things are actually very, very delicate. And I'm going to make it spaz.
All right. So we'll do your roll, and then we're going to deal with Euless and the nurse. So a total of 5 successes. Yeah, this is easy for you, Malchus. You mess with it however you would like.
So basically I make it so it'll spaz for a few seconds and then flatline.
Okay.
And with that, I do up the morphine injection, the morphine drip into the man to make it so that his vital signs drop to very, very difficult. Basically, I'm putting him in almost death-like status.
Got any dots in medicine?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have any dots in medicine? Because if you do too much morphine,
I unfortunately don't, but I am going to run it that I'm basically, because I'm guessing he would have more morphine, correct?
Yeah, I mean, he's got almost a half bag of morphine right now.
Basically, I just give him maybe 4 or 5 cc's more.
Okay, again, I have to make you roll for this because this is definitely a medicine roll.
Intelligence.
Yeah, this is going to be an intelligence and medicine, which for you is just going to be 4 dice, and you need all of them to be successes here.
Actually, if it's that much of a risk, my intelligence is too high for me to take that.
Okay.
Instead, so I'm invisible right now. I can still whisper to Euless. No, I'm gonna have the thing go out, but I'm gonna tell Euless to pretend to do like the vital checking.
Oh, Euless is the next room over. She is left to deal with the
when
nurse.
they run over, when they run over, I'm gonna tell Euless to do the vital check and to stop the nurse from doing it.
Okay.
I
So
don't.
let's cut to Euless. Let's cut to Euless. So Euless, you walk into the next room over, and it's some poor guy broke his leg here overnight. Not a big deal. He's asleep. The nurse is some pretty young thing in her 20s, blonde hair. Stereotypical nurse that is just on the night shift. And she hears you come in, and she kind of puts the patient chart down on the bed and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you come in. Are you a visitor?"
No, sorry. I came in late. Uh, I'm an orderly. I'm from the Miami. I'm in the nursing program.
Hmm. I thought the nursing building was two over. Where is your? And she kind of looks you over. Where is your badge? I don't see a badge on you.
And like she'll like pat her pat her pockets. It's like, oh, I forgot it. Um, I can I still just I was just told by the um I'm desperately trying to remember everything that I've learned from my mom being a nurse supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, I was just told by the nurse on staff at the front desk to I was helping you tonight.
Hmm. What's her name?
So theoretically, what are the chances?
Pretty slim. Pretty slim.
You could just make her forget.
That is an
Yeah.
option.
Damn it! This person uh, seeing through my facade. Yeah, I'll use my cloud memory dominate power.
Okay, let me pull up because it will matter. Dominate, where are you? That's obfuscate, went too far. Cloud memory, blah, 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 no cost. So this is going to be, unprepared mortal victim, so no roll is required. And they can forget the current moment and the last few minutes. So do you want them to just forget the last few minutes, or?
Yeah, I think like as like she's like stepping like backwards out of the room. Like I'm sorry. I think you've forgotten what you're doing,
Okay.
and she'll slip out.
Okay. So as you sort of unleash the power and the power of your blood causes her eyes to flutter, you use that momentary confusion to slip out, and you're pretty sure she's forgotten that entire conversation. Um, so you maybe have bought Malchus another minute, maybe.
Okay, like I slip over to the next room. Okay, we're moving him now.
Okay, I got this, so I can set it off to make it look like he has a heart attack real quick. The defibrillator's been sabotaged.
We'll, we'll, we'll handle it later. But listen, him gone. They'll think he's a runner. We'll handle the systems
Fine.
later.
I hoist the guy up on my shoulder. Let's move.
Okay.
Okay. So
And,
again, I will remind you, he is an elderly gentleman, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
I'm
Do
carrying
you
on my back like Yoda.
like Yoda? Okay. Question 1: are you bringing the IV with you?
Um,
Because otherwise, you got to disconnect him from it.
just
I'm
carry it
actually
in your
gonna take
teeth.
the IV with me because that IV is very, very light, and you can carry it with a single hand. Actually,
You can. So my next question is, with Malchus Yoda-ing the patient and carrying the IV, how do I say this? even in a hospital at night, people are gonna notice that. So my question is, are you immediately gonna go for the elevator? Are you gonna go for the stairs? Are you gonna do the super crazy thing and go out a window? What's the
No.
play here?
Okay.
Also, I love
Felix.
that, Tiger and Lou are just smiling every once in a while, like, "Oh, I'm glad I don't have to deal with this train wreck."
Yeah, you only got to deal with the prince and how angry he'll be when we fail.
Or you guys got this easy.
But I'm going to
Hey,
I'm going
this
to
is why I've got
basically tell
Dominic.
Ulysses to basically how many times can you use that forget memory thing?
I don't see it having. I didn't read a limit on it.
I mean, technically, there's no reason you couldn't just continually wipe, but I think at
That's
some
what I was
point
thinking, the fast and dirty.
Yeah, I was gonna
messes
say-
up like like the person's mind.
yeah, I would say that at
Makes
some
them
point,
snap.
yeah, I was gonna say at some point either they're gonna snap or something in the narrative will happen. That way, you won't abuse it, kind of a thing. Is like I couldn't do that as a storyteller.
Well,
Yeah, so
I'll-
we'll just run so we don't have to use it a bunch of times in the same person.
yeah,
Okay.
basically, and I'll be doing my best to. We're not doing it on the same person, of course. We're just taking a run, and if someone shows up, she'll make them forget that we passed by.
Okay. So again, my question is: elevator, stairs, or window?
I think we take the stairs.
Yeah, stairs.
Okay. So
And I'm behind. I'm behind Joseph, and just saying like, "You forgot," and just keep running behind him.
nice. All right, so I'm just going to have this come down to 2 rolls here. The first is going to be Malchus. I need you to roll me, and you're not going to like me. I need you to roll me a strength and athletics. Otherwise, Euless has to be helping you in some way.
My question is, can we substitute dexterity instead of strength? Because instead I am more or less trying to hoist him in a way that doesn't take too much weight, that doesn't take too much.
I'll allow it only because with strength you're rolling the 1 die, and I would like to see at least a chance of success here.
Yeah, I really need to
forget
put more
about
things
surge.
in my physical
Yeah,
stats.
you can surge.
I'll surge.
Okay, so I need a rouse check. And
Haha.
you succeed. Very nice.
So, athletics, dexterity, and how many dice?
Well, because you surged, I believe you get, what is it, 1 die? 2 die? Yeah, you get 1 die.
1 dice.
Very nice. That is 3 successes. So yeah, with 3 successes, Euless and Malchus and the other Joseph, you guys make it to the stairway, open up the door, start walking down. And the good news is that because you have chosen to take the stairs, you have not run into anyone. In fact, the staircase sort of echoes ominously with every single step you take. However, when you get down to the same level as the morgue, as you get to the morgue level, you realize something rather important, and that is that the stair access to the level of the morgue is locked with a badge reader.
Pull out my phone.
Okay.
Lock.
Don't have a phone because I can't use phones.
My bad. Rolnick.
All right. Does Rolnick answer?
If you'll excuse me, I have a call. Take a moment, and I take the call. I leave the room, but I just go right outside.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rolnick.
I have a
You there?
flip phone, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Everything
Okay, stair access. I kind of tap the door with my foot so that way it'd make it sound so we can find it. Can you open the door up?
Stairs were. Yes,
We got the body.
we do.
We have someone.
All right. I'll be there in a moment. Bloop. Flip phone.
You better not betray us.
I just imagine
Why?
that
I
Rolnick,
don't break it. I just close it.
I was
my
imagining
jacket
that Rolnick literally just carries around like 6 different cell phones that he just keeps breaking and throwing.
Well, I do. I do have. When I know I'm
You know,
gonna.
whenever you break them, you're just breaking the screen, right?
No, I.
You're not
pop
destroying.
Open, yeah.
Okay.
But so after hearing that, I don't peek my head back in. I just put my phone away. And now I know where the stair entry is, but I don't have a key card. But I do know who may.
I mean, you're on the inside, so I don't
Yeah,
think
you're
you
on the
need a
inside.
key
You'll be
card.
able to open it.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, then I'll just go.
All right.
I'll go and open it for him.
You open the door, and waiting for you is a probably annoyed Malchus, probably safe for me to say, and an exasperated Euless.
This way, quickly.
I walk in with the man as the IV drip is still going into his veins, walk into the room. My prince, we have your blood back.
And the prince just looks up and says, "Did you get the shittiest one Whatever, I don't care. Let's do this thing."
I walk him over,
Close
put
the
him
gate
between
behind
me and the sheriff, and
Mhm.
gingerly do what Rolnick has been stopping me from doing this entire time, and yank that stake out.
Okay. So,
I wince every time. It's nasty. I'm like, ugh.
yeah,
Yank
I would
that
too.
stake.
Okay, so if I have the rules correct here, what happens when you remove the stake? The sheriff's eyes begin to flutter, and all of a sudden they snap open, and he bolts upright. Hasn't gotten off the table yet, but he just bolts upright, and he begins looking around. And I believe I have to make a rouse check for him. I think. No, he's just at Humber 5.
I am holding the body between me and him, and the human body is the closest thing to him.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, it's if he would do that. Okay, yeah, so he's just at Hunger 5, hasn't need to make a rouse check yet. So you can just, all of you visibly looking at him, this is a kindred on the edge of literally going on a feeding frenzy. He still has his wits about him, but only barely.
Drink, sheriff, drink.
And
I
you
push the
sort
body
of,
closer to him.
Sort of push it closer. The sheriff, in a perhaps startling and unsettling display of agility, almost leaps off the table and sinks his fangs into this person's neck and begins drinking long and deep. And all of you would have to live with the fact, because I think a few of you are consensualists, yeah? I think Euless especially is.
Yeah, like I don't have the predator type, but she is a consensualist.
Gotcha. That was what I was wondering, if you had the predator type. But all of you sort of have to sit there a little awkwardly, maybe a little bit, maybe your conscience is tested, kind of a thing.
I do divert my eyes. Like, I don't want to see that. I'm like,
Right.
ugh.
Because he does drink long and he does drink deep. To the point that eventually, after maybe about 5 minutes, if that, the sheriff just unceremoniously just tosses the now spent corpse to the side and sort of wipes his mouth and looks around. He's visibly more in control, and he just sort of looks between Primogen Bell and the prince, and then at you four, and says, "Okay, not really sure how to read this situation. I am
You are
aware.
staked.
Yes, I heard and felt everything." And the prince sort of butts in and says, "God damn it, man! I need answers. Where were you? What were you doing?" And the prince is maybe even going so far to like rip the man's shirt and like shake him a little bit. But the sheriff actually seems composed now, and he stays very calm, and he says, "My prince, calm down. I bring grave tidings." And the prince goes, "What do you mean grave tidings? We don't have time for nonsense." Sheriff just, again, very calm. "My prince, a changeling has been masquerading as me for the better part of a month and a half." And the prince thinks about this for a moment. And the Primogen thinks about this for a moment. What do you four do as this revelation comes out?
Now, I have some dots in politics. Can I
Mhm.
do an intelligence politics roll to like see what the potential repercussions that would be, or what parties in kindred society, like if there's an anarch group that would take advantage of this news, right?
Yeah, I would say that that would be an intelligence and politics here.
I just want to see kind of like who'd be interested in that, who'd be hurt by that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the cam would be hurt by that.
Mm-hmm. One success.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. I don't have any to spend.
I would say with one success, really the only thing that immediately comes to mind is that based on their track record, that the Winter Court is probably your primary suspect. But whether or not the
Yeah.
Anarchs would care,
Yeah, you know, I'm not thinking those damn changelings.
And the rest of you?
Well, that explains how they got through security so easily. My question is, do you know what this changeling looks like?
Are you asking this directly of him?
Yes, I am asking it directly of him. Do you know his general usual form?
I'm not sure, actually. They kind of got me from behind, hit me over the head, drove it into my heart, and then threw me in my bathroom, where I sat for a month.
And do you have any? My question is, did you know anything about our late seneschal? Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything about that while you were in torpor?
No, but I did hear discussion about how what was the name? What was the name? And he sort of taps his head like, come on, what was the name? And, the prince is taking this actually rather well. But eventually he starts shaking the sheriff again and says, out with it, man. What was the name, damn it?
Calm down, my prince. Just rushing him will cause him to forget.
Okay, just so we're all on the same page here. You are literally telling the prince that he needs to calm down.
I'm being like, please calm down, my prince. Shaking him will cause him to forget.
I feel like we need to do a roll here just because I made Rolnick do one earlier.
Oh, I'm totally gonna fail this. This isn't Nosferatu asking him to calm down.
You never know. You've got 2 dots. Oh dear. Yeah, you only have 2 dots. Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh dear. I have 2 dots.
Oh dear.
Can Cameron kind of grab him and kind of throw him, not throw him back, but kind of push him back?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like, sorry, my prince. He doesn't think before he speaks a lot of the time.
Well, you damn well better fix that the next time we meet. And then he turns back to the sheriff. Do you have a name or not? And the sheriff says, I'm sorry, my prince. Yes, I remember the name. It's Greco. Now, out of character since we haven't met him yet, Greco is the Ventru Primogen. And Prince Campbell just says, what about Greco? What do you mean? And the sheriff says, Greco, this was all his ploy with the Winter Court. All of it. And if he could go white, because on death you can't really blanch, but if the sheriff could go white, he would. And he says, my prince, we need to leave here immediately. And right as he says that, the alarms in the hospital begin going off and the power is cut. And of course, emergency lighting comes on, sort of that red lighting, almost like not a flashing red, but very dim red. And even with, your natural senses. So, Rolnick, do you still have your special stuff up or no?
Since then, seeing for the most part is passive.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do it whenever.
Okay.
But now and then I like to clue that in. I don't have it actively.
Okay. I mean, that's what I was wondering, was whether or not you had it on forever, because still getting used to the powers. So what you would all hear is the sound of screams from the floors above, and you would hear, I would say even down on this level, you would hear gunfire, which you would guess is coming from Rolnick's associates that he had stay by, but you're not sure. All you're really hearing is gunfire at the moment.
Sheriff, what did you sense?
Oh, it's not what I sense. This was a lure to get the prince out again. If their initial assassination attempt didn't succeed, they're going to burn us all to hell.
Well, we need to move. Let's talk and move.
Can I try to remember the fastest way to get the hell out of here?
You can indeed.
I'm gonna activate my prowess right now.
Okay.
I believe that would be awareness, intelligence.
Yeah, I'll give you an awareness intelligence, sure. All right. Locke has succeeded on his rouse, so you've got that going.
Wait, Rolnick.
What about Rolnick?
Yeah, I don't say anything. I just look at you as I get ready to leave. I don't leave
Is
first, but
is Charlie still with the people?
what?
Is she still here?
Yes, she's. Oh no, she could
Well-
handle herself. We have to get the prince out of here.
All right. So as you all extricate yourselves from the room, sirens begin blaring, and with a messy critical here for Malchus, what I'm going to say here is that yes, with 6 successes, you do find the stairs out of here, or the elevator. So the elevator doesn't work because in an emergency, elevator's first thing to go. But the stairs, remember how I said there's a badge access? And you were correct that it's usually one-sided. You go to push the door is not budging. And what I would say is another part of that messy critical is that as you all are sort of sitting there at the door, and maybe, Locke's getting ready to bust it down, or maybe one of you is getting ready to do something, a pair of mortals, we'll say just standard scrubs, individuals, both male, they sort of round the corner and see all of you and start coming in your direction like, what are you doing? Get that door open! And I will put you guys on this page to sort of set the mood.
Cameron's gonna look at Euless and be like, make them forget, and then Cameron's gonna just rip open the door.
Okay.
Is that what I am now? A forgetting machine?
Apparently.
Currently, yes, unless
I'll approach them like as they're coming to us. Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. We were visiting my uncle, and the whole place is locked down. The nurse with us. I heard gunshots. I'm saying as I'm approaching them,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I get close enough, I say, "Can you open the door for us?" It's not a question.
Not a question.
I'm dominating them.
Mm-hmm.
Can you open the door for us?
Which I'm pretty sure against a mortal, they just do what you want, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, just mesmerized.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If it's mesmerized,
Just
then yeah,
Prepared mortal victim.
that mortal victim's gonna do it. So yeah, the eyes go a little bit unfocused and say, "Well, of course, sir," and they walk forward, and unless anyone stops them, they take out their badge, slap it on the door, slap it a few times. Badge reader's dead, and the electronic sail face must have kicked in. There's another staircase on the other side of the building we could use.
Bring us to it.
Cameron's gonna. Can I try to open the door?
You can. This is definitely going to be a strength and athletics, though.
And I also get +2 because of my prowess.
Okay, so that's a total of 6 successes. So what I would say is that you slam into the door maybe with your shoulder, and not only does the door, slam open, but it does so in such a way that it is immediately obvious that you have done something superhuman. Like there's no way a normal person would have done that. So the orderlies just sort of look at you in amazement and be like, the hell are you?
I'm on
He's
roids.
nothing.
I just quietly say it must have been already opened. Just to them.
So between you and Euless, you...
Essentially, like a mesmerized. Oh, it must have already been open.
Mhm.
Oh, it must have been already open. Oh,
Yeah.
follow
So,
us.
Okay. So
I gestured to the prince that's all kind of messed up. I'm like gesture as if this is a patient, and he's fleeing. It doesn't really matter what the response is.
Mhm.
They're with us now.
Yeah, they're with you now. And by now the prince has put up his hood again. But yeah, you guys begin running up the staircase, fast as you guys can. And the gunfire has been sort of changed. It's not really sustained gunfire anymore. It's maybe like the occasional, around a corner shot or something. But what really matters is when you arrive at ground floor and you take a look at the sort of window that separates the stairwell from the rest of the hospital, you see something that would make your heart sink if that were possible. You see that the entire ground floor is wreathed in flames. And if I, again, have read correctly, that is going to require a terror frenzy check from all of you.
Oh, no.
Did we all lose willpower because of the social combat?
And
Mine
that is going to be very important here.
How much willpower do we lose?
I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to take back the 4 the prince did, because I think that would literally put you all at 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the prince just did 2, so I think you all should have 3 or thereabouts.
So 2.
It
Yeah, we only
depends
took 2
on
damage.
Did they took
your
it?
stats.
So we lost 2 willpower from the prince.
Yes. You
Okay.
lost 2 from the prince, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so 2
I don't-
successes there.
Now, Rolnick, I have no willpower left. I've sustained 4 superficial and a aggravated willpower damage.
Okay.
So I don't think I get to roll. I just go crazy.
Well, I think there is an
I'm not
option
sure if
here.
I roll or not.
Let me see. Because this is going to matter, because
I
2
could
of
ride.
you...
I could ride the frenzy and just act it out, or you describe what happens. I'd like to describe what happens.
I'm definitely going to let you do it. Same thing to you, Malchus, with you failing. If you'd like to describe how you are doing the terror frenzy, I will let it happen. But the good news is that Euless and Cameron, you guys succeed. You're fine. I'm going to roll for the prince and the others. I think they'll be okay, but you never know.
Was it a 2 or 3?
You
Difficulty.
should be rolling 3.
So yeah, then I failed 2 because I only rolled 2. Or I only got 2 successes.
Am I reading the screen wrong? Let's see. No, it's I'm not doing the inside a burning building one. I'm just doing the regular 2 difficulty.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, like I'm being real nice because I realized as the situation was unfolding, I'm like, oh dear, if they get to this point, I'm trying to throw you a loop here. Because you're right. Normally, if you are inside a burning building, the difficulty is 3. So we're playing it fast and loose, keeping you guys alive. That's what matters. But yes, what matters is that Malchus and Rolnick are definitely frenzying. The prince is frenzying.
Oh, God.
Campbell's frenzying. Or not Campbell, Bell's frenzying. Okay, the sheriff is okay. But you've got 2 rather old vampires freaking out in addition to 2 of your coterie members. So let's start with Rolnick. How do you respond to all this as you ride the terror?
So we step up out from the stairway. We open the door. Immediately, smoke starts coming on in. We don't breathe, but we could see it in the flash and the pop and crackle of the fire. My eyes go wide as my fangs just kind of extend on out, like almost like a cat, just kind of their heckles going up.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes go wide, and my extend, and I like stumble back, just back where I came, back down, and I stumble over my feet very clumsily, almost comedically, and like I just trip over myself and I fall down the stairs just backward, and I like a panicked animal. I just on all fours, like I just start quickly scrounging up as I fall down, and I just start running where we came, essentially back downstairs into the.
Okay. And Malchus, how are you responding to this in your terror?
Well, I'm already hearing the beast a little in my head.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. The frenzy's making it even worse. So basically, I'm going to
basically look for any way to fortify myself against the fire. Meaning drinking blood.
I don't think that would help in your situation, the drinking of blood, but I would say that the idea of finding something to steel you against the fire, now that is a good idea because, well, there's sort of a door you could maybe convince your friend to rip off for you.
Well, I was thinking mostly because the beast would be like, drink the blood, it'll make you strong enough to survive.
I would say, I mean, it's a good thought, but in this situation, the beast is more saying, oh God,
Run.
that's fire. Oh God, that's fire. We need to get the hell out of here. We can't be here. Like, the beast wants to be as far away from here as possible.
Look, grab the door. Use it, please.
Do you lock?
I'm gonna run the opposite direction and ditch him. No, I'm going to. I'm gonna look around and be like, I'm gonna look at the sheriff and Euless and be like, get the prince and the primogen to safety. I guess follow me. And does the door at least
The door
indicate
would-
that it's an exit, or is it just a door leading into the further deeper into the building?
It is unfortunately leading into the building. You would have to go maybe about 50 feet to hit the front desk, and then another 30 or so feet beyond that. I think that's about right. So you got to go about 80 feet before you're out of the hospital, but that's 80 feet of you running through fiery corridors and flames all around you.
I guess I can try to rip open the door and see if I can use it as a shield next in the future. I don't know.
Yeah,
One of the rooms next to us might have a window.
it's also a possibility.
So is that what, strength?
I would say
athletics?
probably another strength athletics. Now, Malchus, what I would say here, 3 successes, very nice.
5.
Oh, 5, because you still have your thing up. So, Malchus, I would say as he rips the door off, and Euless, you probably have to tell the orderlies again to forget everything.
Yeah.
As he rips the door off, Malchus, the beast is starting to overpower you a little bit, and you are sticking to Locke like glue. Like you are the scared 5-year-old during a thunderstorm that thinks there's monsters in her closet. Like you are so clamped tightly onto Locke that maybe Locke suffers a little loss of mobility because of it.
I'm basically Yodaing him.
Hey, you're getting a little too close, buddy.
Fire,
You kind
bad.
of stink.
Fire, bad.
So as I rip open the door, can I peer in,
Mm-hmm.
see what's in there?
Yeah, so now that you've gotten rid of the door, what you see is that immediately to your left is an open door that leads into an office of some sort, and there is, thankfully, a glass wall, but the glass is to the outside of the building. But what you see that's going to be a problem is that there is several bodies sort of on the floor, or well, not the floor, on the ground around the exterior of the front of the hospital. And there's also what appear to be about 4 to 5 individuals with some form of rifle that are shooting anyone that comes out of that area. So anyone that comes out of the front of the hospital, they are immediately shot by these individuals.
I guess I'm going to use the door as sort of a shield and kind of just follow me and run towards the glass door or glass wall, and hopefully they follow and use me as cover, the door as cover.
Okay. So my question is mostly directed at Rolnick, but to all of you. With Rolnick running back downstairs, are any of you going to attempt to go fetch him?
Oh, he went downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he ran back
I
downstairs.
went away from the source of from the fire.
I guess I'll tell Euless to go if she can.
Okay, I'll run back downstairs to try and grab him.
Are the prince and the primogen and the sheriff with me? Or
Yes,
with...
and the
Okay.
sheriff is probably has both the prince and Belle by like the collar, and is like, "Well, if we're gonna get these idiots out of here, we need to do it now because I don't know how long I can hold this one." And he motions at the prince. The prince is like freaking out, bug-eyed, like, "Get me the fuck out of here! I can't be here." But yeah, while you're doing that, let's deal with Euless because I feel like picking on Sophie tonight. So, Rolnick, how far have you gone downstairs? Have you literally gone all the way back where you started? Or...
No, it's I kind of reverted, like, again, to use the animal analogy.
Mhm.
Like the door's been torn down, the basement, so that helps. Like I just scrounched my feet hurriedly, like my vision is blurred. I'm like leaning up against the wall, just kind of looking around and looking behind me, um, and just like my hair is frazzled a bit, um, and maybe like a finger is awkwardly bent in a wrong angle. But as I'm like shuffling around, looking up and around, like it's almost like, okay, I don't see any fire, but I'm just like, just in a very panicked mode, essentially. But nearest room, I go into it.
Okay.
So
And
I guess
right
oh,
before
go ahead.
Euless arrives, actually, I just thought of something, and I'm playing this fast and loose, but we're going to see what happens. So you're still freaking out, Rolnick. And there's suddenly a comforting presence behind you. You know who this is. She whispers in your ear, and she says, "My poor child, would you like some help?"
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah.
And
And I
it's
like actually say,
yeah, it's a ephemeral sort of feeling as you feel like the ghost of the breath on your neck, and the sense that sort of fangs that aren't there but you can still feel them penetrate your neck. And what I'm going to say here is that at the cost of 1 permanent damage to your humanity, you can recover from this frenzy.
like I kind of, I feel that, and I could feel the pressure on my neck,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember when I was embraced,
Mm-hmm.
and how my world was turned upside down, and how bad of an experience that was. Like I kind of stop a moment, my eyes close, I kind of forcefully take in a deep breath. Don't need to breathe anymore, but I kind of, as I feel that, I just, then my brows furrow, and a big frown comes across my face, and I pull back my lips, my teeth are just, as the memory plays out, my fangs still out. I just kind of shake my head and I just snarl, "No!" Um, and I look like a crazy person, just kind of in the corner of whatever room I'm in. I'm just, "No, no, no, no!" And I kind of repeat that a few times. Maybe Euless hears
Yeah, this is
that
probably about
touch.
when that Euless, you now walk into the room and see and hear all of this.
And I see, and it's for a moment, it's not you that I see. I see someone else. And I look like a wild creature for a moment before I kind of
Rolnick, Phil, Philly.
don't call me that.
Okay, you're still there. Okay, we need to get out of here.
Yes, we do. We're safe down here.
We're
Down here.
the opposite of.
What do you mean? I don't see any.
The fire's going to come down here, or the people shooting into the building are going to come down here. Either way, we're toast if we don't get out.
You mean that we're safe here? If they're not here, we're safe here. Where are the others?
They're leaving. I'm leaving too if you're not coming with.
There are people shooting?
Yes, and we need to go help them. Because I don't know how I'm going to ask out Charlie if you die.
I slowly, like, go closer. Like as you're talking, like I'm kind of up the wall. Well, not actually up the wall. I'm kind of like leaning up against it, like stabilizing myself, and I'm slowly. I reach out to like grab you by the shoulder. Her name is Charlotte. Charlotte Varro. And then like I forcefully like kind of swallow and I gotta and I let go and you see like that craziness, that Malkavian craziness kind of fades and I just if there are people with guns.
Yes, let's go. And I'm gonna try to grab your hand and lead you out.
Bewildered, I'm led like a child, just
All right. So
looking over
Locke,
my shoulder like the fire's there.
yeah. So Locke, you, the prince, the primogen, the sheriff, your intention, if I understood correctly, you are attempting to go through the front of the building and doing your best to avoid the gunfire.
Yeah. Do I know where the gunfire is coming from?
I mean, you can kind of see in the shadows of the flame, you can kind of see one or two figures specifically positioned right in front of the hospital. And you can see that they are definitely firing at the people coming out. The good news, if I were to... Let's draw on the map here. We have the technology. So let's say that... I'll draw it to the right of Bell here. So let's say that this green line is the staircase. You guys... Well, it would help if I was on the right layer. Token layer. All right. So let's say this green line here is the staircase. The front of the hospital is this blue line here. The glass door or the glass wall you're intending to go through is sort of in this pink bucket here. And the gunmen are going to be these Scion X's. And then I'll sort of draw sort of a diagram so you can kind of see. Well, that's a horrible color. I'll fix it in a second. But you can kind of see that this is sort of what's going on here. Like that is the corridor you are facing at the moment. Let me see if I can change the color on that so it's a little bit more visible. Let's do a yellow. There we go.
So we're not coming out right in front of them.
No, you're coming off to the side. You guys are you're at the green X right now. So you guys are right there.
Okay. I guess I'll tell the sheriff and hopefully the professor will can follow directions to break one way, and then if I can soaring leap into the two gunmen to provide a distraction as they get to safety.
I like it. Yeah, let's do it that way. So you communicate this all out, and Malchus, how would you respond to all this? Remember, you still have the terror frenzy going on.
So he's telling me to run one way while he runs the other.
Mm-hmm.
Am I running towards fire or away from fire?
Away from fire.
Then I am fine with this. And I will, of course, pull out my gun because I know I don't want to also get shot while running away from fire.
Alrighty. So let's do this way. Locke, I would like you to roll me let's call this a dexterity, because I'm trying to represent how you're going through the glass wall before you do your leap thing.
I've got that door in my hands.
You do. I'm going to give you some bonus dice for that. Let's do another strength athletics. I feel like we're overusing it, but let's just do another strength athletics, and I'll give you 2 bonus die for the door.
And then I have the prowess up still, right?
Mm-hmm.
I rolled.
Oh, I wasn't sure if that was... Yeah, Roll20 didn't beep, so I was like, huh. All right, so that's 4 successes. 4 is more than enough. So, Locke, you rush forward towards that glass wall, and you, using the door as a shield, you break through it. And again, thanks to the door, the glass shatters outward and in such a way that it does not harm you or the people following behind you. And as you make this noise, as you make your exit, it is at this point that the gunmen sort of turn in your direction. And at this point, Malchus, Bell, Campbell, and Donovan, I'm going to sort of mess with your tokens here. So Malchus, Campbell, Primogen, and Donovan, you, unless you want to do something else, you are running away into the dark.
I am,
Go ahead.
but I am going to try and fire a couple shots.
I would argue that based on your terror frenzy, you wouldn't be able to get off a actual shot. Like, you could fire your gun, sure, but it wouldn't actually hit anything. In
Oh, I'm
fact,
not trying to hit someone. I'm trying to make it so that they're suddenly like, wait, what's going on?
okay.
Make them suddenly confused that a crazy man with a door flying at them and suddenly gunfire. They hear gunfire. It adds to the confusion to help crazy man with door.
I'll allow it. I will say that that will count as an assist for when Locke does his soaring leap. So yeah, Locke, you've got 2 gunmen that are turning in your direction. I'm going to be nice here and say that you've got 1 turn before they maybe open fire.
Okay. Do I roll anything or?
Soaring leap, I think you just literally leap, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see. Why don't we have you do a strength plus brawl here? Because, yeah, that's unarmed attacks. Let's do that.
Can I also do my touch of oblivion as I crash into him? If I do crash into him.
Yeah, well, I don't have a problem with that. Let's go with that.
Is it a grapple? 'Cause that's my specialty.
Yeah, I'll give it a grapple, sure. Wow, 11 successes. That is impressive. I'm going to let you describe what happens to these gentlemen with 11 successes.
As Cameron busts out of the glass wall, he turns and he sees 2 gunmen, just murking people as they run out of the hospital. And he's like, hey, go the opposite way. I'm going to cause a distraction. And he zeroes in on the gunman closest to him and just jumps at him, leaps through the sky like he's Superman, starts laughing because he's having fun, I guess, and just slams into the gunman while he gathers his oblivion energy on his hands and touches the guy as they tumble.
Okay. If I know your power correctly...
It's 2 ag.
It's 2 ag, which for a mortal...
And crippling.
Yeah, so they are mortal, and when you do touch them, they do physically recoil at the shock, as maybe their ribs snap, their bones become brittle, and generally they feel the cold darkness seep into them. And they are otherwise incapacitated, but what you notice is that they're all wearing the same uniform, and that uniform is for the very same company that you have seen Rolnick's guards use.
I'm going to, I guess, like grab a patch, like one of the, if there's patches on the uniform, and kind of rip it off and shove it in my pocket. And are they incapacitated, or is there one still?
They're incapacitated.
Okay.
And I'd say right about now is when Rolnick and Eulis, you guys emerge. You see the shattered wall to your left, which you could leave the building out of. Would you, or do you really want to stay in the fiery building, I guess?
Yeah, I'm gonna lead this Malkavian out before he goes crazy again.
Okay. So you two head out of the glass wall. You look to your left, and you can just see as they fade into the shadowy night. You see the Primogen, the Prince, the Sheriff, and Malchus. They're off. To your right, illuminated in the fire and maybe his own shadows, you see Locke, and he is maybe standing over the form of two bodies on the floor. I mean, they're living bodies, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't think there would be, but can I do a wits awareness roll to hear if anyone else is in the burning
Yeah,
on this floor?
I will allow it.
Barring anything else, I'm going to grab both of them so I can for further interrogation.
Okay.
I just-
With 2 successes, Rolnick, you can hear that there is screaming from inside, but you also hear something good. You do hear an actual sound of sirens, so the fire brigade is likely here very quickly.
All right. So I hear the sirens, and I hear the people sort of calling. Rolnick kind of stops, and I, you're leading me by the hand, and you notice like I kind of stop, and you turn back, Ulyss. You see me. Don't you hear them? The voices. There's other people here.
There is, and there's people coming that can save them. We can't save them. It's a burning building. We have to go. Do you know where
What?
Charlotte is? Where did she park the car?
What? What did you say?
Are you Rolnick?
There's no time for that now. Ask me later when there's an ATM nearby. If you needed money, all you have to do is ask.
What do you
You come up with the strangest moments to bring such things up. And I kind of stop, like as if I was listening to the people, and then I kind of, and then I leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course I'm gonna leave. Why wouldn't I just leave? I kind of get off the wall a bit.
Yay, Malkavians. All right, so with all of you leaving, Locke taking his... Oh, go ahead.
I'm looking for Charlie.
You're looking for
making
Charlie.
Sure that she's gonna get out of here.
I will permit you 1 wits and awareness. Other than that, you got to make a run for it.
Okay.
Unless you really want to stay and explain to mortal firefighters why all of this is happening.
Yeah. I will. What's it called? The rouse check to get a +2.
Blood surge?
Blood surge.
And I think it's only a +1.
+1 for
+1.
potency. Yeah.
So yep, do the rouse check. Let's see how you do. You get hungrier.
Then it was an awareness plus wits.
Correct. Two successes.
Gonna re-roll.
Okay. 4 successes. So, for a moment, the beast snarls and says, "What are you doing? There's fire." And then maybe another part of the beast says, "But we really want to drink Charlie, don't we?" And there's sort of a clashing moment where the two beasts are arguing back and forth in your head. Like, one is, "There's fire, get the hell out of here." One is, "I really want to drink Charlie right now." And maybe in your sort of confused state, you look around, and based on what you're seeing, what you can see anyway, you're not seeing... The good news is you're not seeing Charlie on the ground anywhere, but you're also not seeing Charlie standing anywhere. So if she's around, she's not somewhere you can see.
Okay, so I can... She got away. She has to go. Yeah, okay, I'm running.
Okay. All right. So, as you all escape into the night, you sort of look back maybe once you've gotten to a safe distance, and you see that a very large firefighting contingency has come to put out the fire. But you now have survived not one, but now two very blatant and very Masquerade type breaking attacks by the Changelings. And how you respond to that? Something we're going to have to wait to the new year to find out, unfortunately. So that is where we end session 4 of Miami by Night. So what did you guys think? Good, bad?
Fire bad.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so anyone watching on Twitch or YouTube, we're going to be off until the new year, barring any scheduling problems. We are back on January 2nd. As I said, the VOD for this and for the third session will be up later tonight. But this is where I'm going to cut the stream. So Twitch, YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you had a good time, and guess I'll see you in the new year. Bye, stream.